Hi everyone. I feel like Mr. Rogers. Um, my name's Seamus Burkle. I'm 44 years old. I live in this home with my children and my wife. And this spring, early spring, I was diagnosed with stage 4 adenocarcinoma, lung cancer. Um, and how I found out was I had pain last year. Basically, my rib was being eaten away by a tumor that I didn't know about, and I thought I had just dislocated a rib. um, so the rib itself was breaking, and I was in a ton of pain from about last August until Christmas time, when I finally thought I have to get this checked out. Um, and and the reason I'm making this video, I'll just tell you up front, is um, a lot of people want to know what I did, because here I am. Well, so now it's September 7th, and just the other day I had a PET scan, and it showed no active disease in my body. So that means, of course, not that the cancer has gone 100%, but 98% of the cancer is gone. I have no tumors. I have no active metastases. There's no fast dividing cells left in my body, and I feel like I'm just getting going. Like I've just hit stride. So it feels like a really important time to, number one, capitalize on the good feeling of like, wow, this has been a crazy 7 months, but in 7 months, I managed to go from like the shock and pain and trauma of stage 4 cancer diagnosis to feeling really good and feeling like I'm just getting going with the rest of my life. So this video is I'm gonna get into the nitty gritty. So this is for people who have cancer and just are curious, for people who know someone who has cancer, or for people who are just curious. This is just the way I did it. There's so many ways to do this, but I think a lot of people, especially when you get diagnosed, it's overwhelming. And even if you read the books, you kind of don't know where to begin. So I'm just going to sort of map out as best as possible some of the stages I went through, or steps that I took, the processes, the supplements, that kind of thing. So this will probably be a long video. I'm going to talk a lot. I don't normally talk this fast, but I'm going to be trying to get as much in here as possible. So bear with me. I think it's all good stuff. But if you're not interested, that's fine. I'm just speaking to those people who are interested, or who might be interested and just want a little encouragement and insight. So yeah, that's, oh, and right, and none of this is medical advice, because I'm not a doctor. Nothing I say can be construed as medical advice. This is just someone who's had cancer, and this is how I dealt with it. So there you go. So right after I got diagnosed, I right away received radiation to my rib, which was being consumed by a tumor, and 2 little spots on my spine, which weren't big, but they were bone metastases that they were worried about affecting my spine, obviously, and the nerves in my spine. So they radiated those 3 spots for 5 days, like 3 sessions, 1, 2, 3 each day. It shocked the hell out of my system. I got nauseous to the extreme right away, and felt horrible for about 3 weeks afterwards. The moment I knew I had cancer, I started on a ketogenic diet. So that's, minimal carbs, no sugar, of course, minimal carbs, high fat, medium protein. I just knew that was a good first step to take. That changed. That lasted for about a month, and then I just started eating more carbs because I just needed the energy, and I sort of went vegan keto with no coconut oil, which is a really hard thing to do. Your food choices, my food choices felt pretty limited. So, but I started out with about a month of keto, which I think was a great way to help my body adapt. Basically, I was sort of fasting, starving, ketoing for that first month. And I was so sick from the radiation and the cancer diagnosis that um, I couldn't eat much. I was just, in shock. Um, However, what the turning point for me, number one was spiritual in terms of finding. It sounds cliche, but finding peace with the idea of my own death. Right away, I got, this could take me out. So don't kid yourself. You might only have a short period of time to live, so get serious. And also then being able to go from I don't want to die, like that occurred to me. I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. I really do want to live. I love life. And and I had this question, and I don't want to piss off the creator or God. Like, what if this is my time to go? Who am I to say that God doesn't know what's good for me? And I struggled with this dilemma in the early days. And then a mentor of mine pointed out that luckily God or creator or the great spirit or whatever name you give a higher power doesn't treat us like we treat each other. In other words, love or God does not discriminate, does not play favorites, does not punish. These are all human concepts, and they don't apply to a higher power's love for us. So he gave me a prayer, a big prayer that made a huge difference for me. And it simply goes, I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. What is this aliveness? It is me. What is this aliveness? It is me. What is this aliveness? It is me. Until I am no more, and then only the eternal mystery. And that prayer, or mantra, or whatever you want to call it, made a huge difference, because it went from I don't want to die to I am alive. And by saying the words I am alive, it's a self-evident truth. The fact that I can say those words means I'm alive. And there's no sort of half alive. You're either alive or you're dead. And when you're dead, it's not really your responsibility anymore. It's back to the great mystery, to the eternal mystery. But as long as I can say those words, I'm alive and I get to love life. So that was a huge turning point for me. And another one was, so this is excuse my videoing. So I'll go over here. So this is our couch. And while I was recovering from radiation, I was laying on this couch so much. One of the things that I had, you can't really see it, but it's a bed made with copper coils that my neighbor, David Serrata, makes, and they're amazing. It's basically an electromagnetic frequency generator that we plugged an iPad into with these rife frequencies. So several times a day for an hour or so, I would run these various rife frequencies they're electromagnetic frequencies, wavelengths, and this is like a speaker, except instead of producing sound, it produces electromagnetic wavelengths, frequencies. And I would lie on this couch a lot because, like I say, I was in shock. My body felt so frail and weak from the radiation. And I would just lie here on the bed, napping, reading, whatever, and had that frequency generator working for me. Did it help? Who knows? I think it did. Also, I got this, which is not plugged in. Usually it glows red. Oh, there we go. So this is a far infrared. It's basically a heat pad, LEDs that generate heat, and you can put it on any part of your body. This thing is awesome. Before I knew I had cancer, I was using a hot water bottle all the time because my rib hurt so much. And it kind of makes your skin go a funny color. So when I got this, like, I still use this even though I don't have nearly as much rib pain. But this thing is amazing. You can put it on any part of your body. It just makes it nice and warm. It's like a little sauna. That's been amazing. While I was lying here, I started reading. I knew I needed to learn as much about cancer as possible. And no one in my family has ever had cancer. I had very little experience with cancer. So I was naive. So I started reading. I read Cancer and the New Biology of Water. Then I read Tripping Over the Truth, Travis Christofferson. Both excellent books. And then I lucked out big time. A dear friend of our family who unfortunately lost her husband to esophageal cancer about 1.5 years ago. She had been researching like crazy, trying to help him. And all of her, when she found out I had cancer, all of her books came to me. She just, like, I got a stack of books. The original copy had all of her post-it notes, all her notes. I'm not a real note taker, but she was. And so I got this book, and I've said it before, and I will say it again. This, get a little choked up. This book was totally the turning point for me. That the realization that not only did I not want to die, but that I was alive, and that God wasn't punishing me with cancer. That was huge. Spiritually, this book was huge mentally and practically speaking. I'm a pragmatic, practical person by nature. I'm touchy-feely too, but when it came to my own recovery, I wanted something solid that I could sink my teeth into, and this book was totally that. I was like, oh my God, this woman, Jane McClelland, she's done it. Others are doing it. I can do it too, and here's how. So this is sort of the foundation of everything that I did thereafter. Of course, I added to it. It's not all in the book, but it's such a good foundation, and it just gave me that sense of this is a way forward, and I'm going to do it. So I'll sort of get into all the nuts and bolts of that. As well, my wife, whose birthday is today, and my kid's birthday was 3 days ago. That's why there's all these like gift card things around. She reminded me of all the things that I did. I posted a video on Facebook saying I've got cancer. Just a heads up, I didn't want to hide any of this. I knew right away that isolation is what causes cancer. This is my belief. It just came really clear to me. Cancer is a disease of isolation and separation. And so the antidote to that for me was get connected, get the word out, communicate. Don't let this be something that gets in between you and the people you love. You don't need to be ashamed or keep it a secret. So I made a video. I told everyone, broadcast that this is going on. A friend helped me get a GoFundMe and a Caring Bridge website. Within, I don't know, it was like 5 days. I thought, oh gee, should I ask for money? I don't know. And my friend said, yeah, ask for $24,000. It's like, well, okay, I was thinking 10. So I said $25,000, the goal of the GoFundMe. And within 5 days, people had donated $47,000. And and all the messages of love and well wishes, and I'm like, holy cow, how can I think that I am not loved, or that I'm separate or alone in this, when this huge outpouring of community support and well wishes and prayers and you name it, like food. We had a food train happening where people would bring us meals. It was incredible. But it took asking for help and then being willing to receive the help. As well, I signed up for palliative care benefits. I signed up for disability, because I knew I needed to just put 100% of my energy into healing, and not worry about working to support my family or going into debt. So these are things that really helped, because having $47,000 that's totally dedicated to my getting well is huge. And I had no excuse to cheap out on myself. So I started right away reading the book. Every single time I found a supplement that was listed that I thought would help, or that showed evidence of helping, I'd go on iHerb. I had the app on my phone. I did all of this through my phone. We have laptops, but I didn't even use it. Everything I just did through my phone, researching. And iHerb, I would just order, groups, orders of herbs or supplements. As soon as I thought it would be of benefit, I would order it. It would show up a week or two later, until I had this, at first about 35 supplements. And then I just started taking them, obviously. The only treatment that my oncologist offered me, and it is a frontline treatment. These are amazing pills. Tagrisso, osimertinib, because I have an EGFR mutation in my type of cancer. I was eligible for this. Costs about $10,000 a month, but thankfully the government of British Columbia and Cancer Society pays for it, so it's free to me. So this is a miracle drug in and of itself. However, it's almost guaranteed to stop working after a couple of years. And I researched and right away found out, okay, this is great. Yes, I'll take it. And yes, it'll probably stop working. And then what? Then I'm out a miracle pill. And right away I found out, just by combining some of these off-label drugs that are mentioned in the book, like metformin or aspirin, or there's a couple others, you can extend you can delay the drug resistance of your cancer almost indefinitely. So to me, it was a no-brainer that I was going to start mixing it up and do a drug cocktail. My oncologist didn't like that at all. He didn't believe that diet made any difference, that supplements made any appreciable difference. So right away I could tell we were on different pages. So I had to kind of trust my instincts and kind of strike out on my own while still honoring his support and care and offering of osimertinib, this targeted treatment. And he said, take this pill and don't mess around. And I said, well, we know you're treating me palliatively and I'm taking a curative approach to my own life, because it's my life we're talking about, not just your patient that you're trying to care for. So he said, well, whatever you do, run it by the hospital pharmacist, because they're the master of drug interactions. So I did. I took my list of supplements and drugs to the hospital pharmacist, and she went over it. Very nice woman, and said, oh yeah, okay, watch for this, and this looks good, and all these things might potentiate this. And I thought, well, that makes it stronger, so can I take less of the Tagrisso? And she said, well, that would be one way of dealing with potential compound effects. So for a while I did a half dose. My oncologist found that out and he did not like it. I went back to a full dose. I'm still on a full dose every day. I have very little side effects from it, so I'm continuing to take it, and I'm really grateful for it. However, that just became one of the many, many things that I did in terms of taking pills and medication to deal with cancer. What else? Okay, a lot of you, so right away someone said, you're going to have to become an advocate for your own health. You're going to have to become your own doctor. Like I say, I'm not a doctor, but I am now the foremost expert on Seamus Burkle's lung cancer by a long shot, right? I've learned a lot about cancer and myself, and of course I know myself better than anyone else. So I found an amazing GP. I quit my old GP because she just wasn't working for me. I found an amazing GP. I brought her the book. I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to need a bunch of prescription drugs. She said, okay. I said, do you want the research behind it? She said, no, I think I can look into it. And GPs are allowed to prescribe drugs off-label, so used for other than intended purposes, or their purposes they were developed for, if there's evidence of efficacy for other conditions. So in my case, all these drugs are for other things: stroke, diabetes, cholesterol, antibiotic, antifungal, dewormer. They all have really amazing anti-cancer effects. So she was like instrumental. Like I would thank her profusely, because she just said, okay, what do you need? Where do we start? And she started every 2 weeks or so. We'd meet on the phone or in person, and I'd say, okay, I need this next, and she would prescribe me that. We'd talk doses. We'd have a dialogue. She'd tell me what she thought, and then she would prescribe the drugs. So starting in I started on the osimertinib mid-February. I was diagnosed mid-January, radiation right away, osimertinib and those first 35 supplements early February. And then by early March, I was starting to take, at first, mebendazole, metformin, atorvastatin, and then I added every few weeks, I would add another prescription off-label drug, ramping up, starting with a quarter dose, then a half dose, then a full dose after a week or two. And that worked really well. One thing that I had to do a lot of research. Right away, I knew intravenous vitamin C was going to be really important, and I knew it. I went to the local naturopath, and it's like $160 for one dose of IV vitamin C. I was like, the cheap part of me, or the pragmatic part of me, the thrifty part of me said, there's no way I'm going to pay. Number one, I have to go to town, drive half an hour, sit in an office receiving IV, drive back, twice a week, plus pay the money? No, there's got to be a better way. So what I did, and this is something that a lot of people are wondering about, so I'll speak to it right now. it took some research. Basically, I found a pharmacy where you can buy all these medical supplies. I got a bunch of these, got a bunch of the 18 gauge syringes that go with it for hypodermic needles. This is like a catheter. So it's a flexible catheter that you insert with a needle. It goes into your arm, and then you tape it there, and it stays there for up to a couple of days. You can also get these, which are small and just single use. Those are great, but you can't keep them in your arm. You use them for one intravenous session, and then you throw it out and you get a new one the next day or whenever you do it next. I got these because I wanted to be able to do multiples over those 2 days. Basically, if I was on my game in the morning and in the evening, 2 days or sometimes 2.5 days in a row, so up to 5 times, I would do an intravenous vitamin C. I had to find, getting the vitamin C was tricky. Basically, I consulted with a naturopath doctor who was awesome, and he was just totally wanting to support me. He prescribed this. I got it from York Downs chemists in Ottawa or Ontario. In BC or Canada, you do need a prescription. I'm sure online you can find IV vitamin C vials. It was hard. They were hard to find. So I got a prescription for these, and he just sort of said, okay, you just pay the pharmacy for what they cost. So the cost of these is, I don't know, say $25 each, much less than going to a naturopath. Got a whole ton of 500 milliliter sterilized water bags for IV use. There's this is called a administration set, this tube with the little thingamajiggy. This is my kid's bath toy now, so that's why there's water dripping out of it. So basically, so how the naturopath was able to allow me to do this at home is, I have a friend who's a registered nurse, and a naturopath can issue a directive to a registered nurse to do private IV administration. That way he's not liable, and as long as the nurse is willing to do that or teach you how to do it, they don't have to do it every time. He basically taught us how to do home IV. He still does it for me because he's a pro. But basically, find a friend who's a nurse, or hire a nurse for the first couple times, so that you have permission to have this from your naturopath. My nurse friend, bless his heart, came over, put in the catheter, taped it up, showed me how to, with the needle, you inject air into here, and then you withdraw. You take this full of the vitamin C solution, you inject it into here. This is full of water. You add the vitamin C, you get some more, add it until this is full of vitamin C and water. You're supposed to mix minerals with this. I never did. I think if you were going to do it, the calcium, magnesium, and potassium, I think. Apparently you can get some electrolyte imbalances. I never did, but do your research. And then this plugs into this. You hang this up. You set the drip rate to like fast but not too fast, and you hang out on the couch. I would hang out on the couch for hour and a half or however long it took, reading a book, relaxing, having a nap with the hot pad thing. And I did that for several months, and it was amazing and very empowering to be able to do this from home. I saved so much time and stress of having to leave for appointments, and I saved thousands of dollars by not paying someone else to do my IV. So that's huge. I wanted to make sure that everyone understood more or less how that happened. It took a lot of work to set it up, But if you can find a pharmacy where you buy all the medical equipment, and you can find a naturopath and a nurse friend or paid nurse to set you up for home-based IV, it's amazing. Well, like I said, I'm going to be talking a lot. I feel like I've already said so much, but there's more. Okay, so there's the little couch scene. Oh yeah, one other book. So first book I read that changed everything, and continues to be my Bible, quote unquote. Even more of a Bible. I read this more recently. Phenomenal book. Dr. Neil McKinney, Naturopathic Oncology. Phenomenal. Just if of two books, get these two over any others in my world. I finished reading the book. Amazing book. Looked in the back. I said, I got to talk to this guy, Neil. He's in Vancouver or Lower Mainland. He's an world expert on naturopathic oncology. He had just retired, so his protege, Jocelyn Tate, she's a naturopath in Victoria. I booked a consult with her. I had already started my protocol and was well underway, but talking to her was amazing. For 2 hours, she just went through my supplement list and basically told me all the things that I don't need to take anymore or that are redundant or unnecessary. So she simplified my life, and she knows. It's the first time I'd met someone who knew more about my cancer than I did, or more about cancer than I did. And that was such a relief. It's like, oh, I'm held. I don't have to be vigilant. Someone's got me, and understands what I'm going through, and can support me. So yeah, that book is amazing. So I'll just check to make sure. Oh my God, 32 minutes already. Okay, I'm gonna come over here. This is our fridge. We live off grid, so we just have a small fridge in 3 seasons of the year. These are all the pills and things that don't fit into my 3 times a day pill schedule. Ion Biome, Zach Bush product, great for gut health. I make my own colloidal silver. I think that has amazing benefits and anti-cancer properties. It's cheap if you make it yourself, get your own silver rods. I did a course of artemisinin, liposomal artemisinin and artemisinin pills. I think that was great. I mixed the artemisinin with DMSO, which I got from a veterinary supply. I'll show you over here. Bought a gallon of DMSO. This stuff's amazing for any transdermal medication that you want to put through your skin, including cannabinoids or pain relievers, as well as you can drink it with the artemisinin for maximum absorption. This is horribly bitter, and this is horribly bitter as well. So drinking them is not fun, but they're non-toxic and they work. I saw an amazing Hale Kunst practitioner, homeopathic practitioner. She set me up with all sorts of homeopathics to deal with the radiation after effects, to deal with the side effects of antibiotics and some of the things I was taking, as well as the emotional, physical, spiritual rebalancing that so having a good homeopathic consultant was amazing. She'd send me all my remedies. She also got me on strophanthus seed extract. I've been taking it ever since. I think it's good stuff. It's a cardiac glycoside, which shows anti-cancer properties. These are all the things like pectosol, modified citrus pectin, sulforaphane, proteolytic enzymes that I take in the morning usually, away from food. or last thing at night. Right away I got on low dose naltrexone from my GP. Amazing stuff. And melatonin, I take 20 milligrams of melatonin almost every night. I sleep very well as it is, but this definitely helped, and it also has anti-cancer benefits, so definitely melatonin is recommended. I sleep a lot. I get at least 7 to 10 hours of sleep every night, and that's been wonderful to just get consistent sleep for healing. Creatine does amazing things for your killer T cell activity. It like fires them up and makes them super cancer fighting machines. So I believe in creatine. And and then just all sorts of little random things that I would take. There's an oil called Brucia javanica. It's a seed oil, and also one called Sterculia fetida. I discovered this and ordered a kilogram from China. It doesn't taste good, but it has amazing effects for lung cancer especially, where it stops lung cancer's evasion of reactive oxygen species induced death. So this stuff keeps it from protecting itself, so it makes it more susceptible. I believe in that. Fenbendazole, dichloroacetate, awesome stuff. I've just started that more recently. So this is just sort of everything that I would just randomly, take some homeopathics, take some chaga tincture, take some strophanthus. So that's that little zone. And then over here, this is just our kitchen. These are just some of the things that, as far as food goes, got a good vegan protein powder. Now I'm using high quality whey protein, but at first I was just using a vegan protein powder as a way to get enough protein. I've started taking colostrum, more vegan protein powder. This tastes really good. Dr. Murray's Superfoods 3-seed protein powder, great stuff, full of lignans, which are anti-cancer. Astragalus is a huge anti-cancer and immune boosting, vitality boosting herb. I've taken tons of that. Some exogenous ketones, chlorella, mushroom powders of all the mushrooms to take for my cancer, or for anyone. Reishi and turkey tail are the two most important ones. Chaga is like third on the list, but these two are tops. So if you can get, these are concentrates. They're amazing. Monk fruit extract is really sweet and tasty, and it also has anti-cancer properties. So, if you want food to taste better, if you want to eat sweet things without eating sugar, get some monk fruit and some erythritol, and stevia is anti-cancer, so get some stevia and just use it. Because I have a sweet tooth, and so rather than pretend like I don't crave sweet things, I decided to finally embrace giving myself something sweet, so I wouldn't sort of trick myself and start eating dried fruit or something, thinking that was a-okay. Matcha green tea is super good anti-cancer. I have drunk like at least this much green tea every day since I was diagnosed. Green tea is amazing as an anti-cancer remedy. MCT oil is great stuff. Olive oil is kind of the one oil that's totally beneficial or benign for cancer. Now I'm eating a lot more coconut oil. I do believe there's lauric acid in here, which shows anti-cancer properties. And I just need some fat. And coconut oil, good virgin coconut oil is amazing. I ordered 500 grams of 2-deoxy-D-glucose from China, from a chemical manufacturer. This stuff is really synergistic with dichloroacetate. It's not cheap. It's a sugar analog that costs an arm and a leg, but together these work amazingly. And so I'll just show you right here. This is my pill, my master pill system. So those are muffin cups, super high-tech muffin cups. And every 2 weeks, there's 12 muffin cups plus 2 extra ones, 14. This is breakfast, lunch, dinner. So every 2 weeks, I sort my pills. Sometimes my family helps. Often it's just me. But it's kind of a fun family thing to sort pills, and just give your kids the ones that aren't life or death or toxic, so that if you end up with a couple more, cranberry capsules in one and a couple less in another, it's not a big deal. Deal with the really critical ones yourself so that they end up in the right muffin cups. I'll show you in a sec the box of pills that I work from. But basically, from a box, here, I'll just quick show you the box. So this is my box of pills. It's a large box. So basically every 2 weeks, I'm going through almost every single one of those jars and dispersing them, in the doses that I think I need. I basically, some things I take more of. Usually I just follow the directions because I'm taking so many pills that I can't take extras so basically what I ended up with, once you fill up all the muffin cups, everything you want to take in the morning goes there, everything at lunch goes there, everything in the evening goes there. And then I labeled bags. There's my AM bag. It's got all the supplements I want to take in the morning, plus my prescription drugs, propranolol, statin, Celebrex, metformin, niclosamide, you name it. Take that in the morning. For lunch, my lunchtime pills. Part of why there's so many pills, you got to take them with food or lots of liquid, or else it's just so hard on your system. So of course I just take these right after I have my meal. I just swallow a whole bunch of pills, and 5 or 10 at a time with a sip of water. And I find if I just sort of hold the pills in the front of my mouth and take a sip of water, and then just all at once, you just swallow the whole thing, water and pills, they go down really well. So there's about 200 pills per day that I take, which is a lot, but it's obviously worked very well for me. Once you bag these up, you'll have 14 AM bags, 14 midday bags, 14 PM bags, and then all you need to do every day is just grab these either all at once if you're going somewhere, or if you're going away for a couple of days, you grab a couple of each, or just, it's breakfast time, so I run and grab an AM bag. And this saves so much thought and mental energy when you've organized it once every 2 weeks. And then all you have to do is take your pills. You don't have to think about if you've missed any or anything like that. It just totally simplified things. So I highly recommend that system, and the bags are very cheap and easy. And then, so you saw my box of pills. I'll just hold it up. So yeah, so there's, 80 plus supplements in here. Now I'm starting to take things off the list. And now that I'm sort of cancer-free or no evidence of disease, I can start backing off the unnecessary ones or the superfluous ones. But I'll give you just a real quick list of everything that I have been taking, more or less. So, okay, so in no particular order, some of these are more important than others. You'll you'll know. I mean, there's sort of the heavy hitters, top of the list, like obviously curcumin, resveratrol, EGCG, uh, um, propolis for me, um, boswellia. I'm probably missing a couple. Soy isoflavones. Anyways, there's sort of those like key ones that you want to be taking every single day in reasonably high amounts. And then there's all of these other ones which are all beneficial, but they may or may not apply in every situation. So I'll just list them off. So milk thistle, very important. Cordyceps, great. Shark liver oil is amazing, but just don't take it for too many months. Take it for like 2 months and then stop. MSM, propolis, conjugated linoleic acid or linoleic acid, glucosamine sulfate, I stopped taking because of something I read in Naturopathic Oncology. It interferes with something else. Black seed oil, amazing. Aloe vera, kind of a bonus. Bromelain as a proteolytic enzyme, amazing, cheap. Chromium for blood sugar, amazing. Pregnenolone as a hormone precursor. My naturopath said that I should stop taking that just because you can't tell what your body's going to do with it. It might turn it into something good, it might not, but I was taking it for a while. Hesperidin, amazing stuff. Krill oil or fish oil, amazing stuff. Regardless of what you think about polyunsaturated fatty acids, fish oil or krill oil and DHA, especially the DHA component of fish oil, has some amazing anti-cancer benefits. Sea buckthorn powder, indole 3 carbinol or diindolylmethane, both amazing. Claritin, which is a over-the-counter antihistamine, phenomenal effect in turning your immune system to fight cancer. Skullcap is amazing stuff. Bicolin, the component of it, is phenomenal. Hanokiol from magnolia is amazingly anti-cancer. Garlic pills, magnesium, because why not? EGCG from green tea, so decaffeinated EGCG concentrate. Even if you drink a ton of green tea, always take EGCG, except when you're doing intravenous vitamin C, cut out the EGCG, but otherwise take it every day. A good mushroom blend, boswellia, chlorella, tablets, because why not? Gymnema sylvestre for blood sugar, great stuff. Maitake D, mushroom extract, apparently not as important as turkey tail and reishi. Alpha lipoic acid, amazing antioxidant. Korean ginseng, I don't take it anymore just because it might interfere with the osimertinib. Niacin, take all the time. Chaga, good, but don't take too much of it. Reishi, amazing. Vitamin A, yes. Curcumin is like number 1 on the list, I think, unless you still smoke. Hopefully, if you have cancer and you still smoke, you'll find the kindness to stop smoking for your own benefit. But if you do smoke, don't take curcumin, or take curcumin and stop smoking. Ginger pills are great because they cut the nausea and stomach upset of taking all those pills. So in every one of my 3-a-day packs of pills, there's ginger pills. Soy isoflavones, amazing anti-cancer properties, anti-estrogenic, even though you think they have phytoestrogens, they're really good. Trans resveratrol, astragalus, amazing stuff. I take the powder and the pills. Vitamin D, lutein, selenium, vitamin C, as many tablets as I can fit in, like at least 3,000 milligrams of vitamin C, plus whatever other vitamin C you want to take, or your intravenous vitamin C. Just take lots of vitamin C, I think is good. Pomegranate extract, turkey tail, American ginseng for the immune system, I think it's great. Parsley, dehydrated or freeze-dried parsley, full of apigenin. Excellent. Take lots of parsley. There's nothing bad about parsley. Moringa is an amazing superfood and has some anti-cancer properties. Ashwagandha, to help your body deal with the stress of having cancer. Fish oil, acetyl L-carnitine, and acetyl L-carnosine, both amazing. Andrographis is an immune booster. You're not supposed to take it for too long. Garcinia cambogia, it's a citrus fruit rind extract, amazing for your blood sugar and has some anti-cancer properties. Salvia, like Chinese red sage, I think it's called, Chinese sage root, salvia, amazing stuff. Probiotics, in the 2 meals, if I'm not taking doxycycline in the morning, I take probiotics at lunch and dinner. Sulforaphane is amazing, top 5 anti-cancer. Red clover extract, amazing phytoestrogen source. Berberine, another top 5, phenomenal for cancer and blood sugar. Quercetin or isoquercetin, amazing stuff, top 10 at least. Echinacea for your immune system, why not? Just don't take it forever. Cat's claw, modified citrus pectin, get the good stuff. Holy basil, amazing stuff. You can get it for make tea with, but also get the pills. Iodine, something called Google resin, Guggul, good for cholesterol. I think it's great for cancer. Why not? Pycnogenol, pine bark extract. Fucoidan, seaweed extract, amazing stuff. The delta tocotrienols, so the vitamin E that's not just vitamin E, but it's your tocotrienols, mixed tocotrienols, good stuff. It's better than just plain vitamin E. And so those, I'm sure I'm missing a couple because, bergamot I've added. But you can see it's a huge box, but basically each of these things on the list I take at least once a day, if not 3 times a day. And then as far as off-label drugs that I'm taking, well, osimertinib is my on-label drug for cancer. If you can get a targeted treatment like it and you don't suffer side effects, then take it. It's amazing. Definitely helped me. I got to give credit where credit is due. Atorvastatin, so a lipophilic statin, amazing anti-cancer properties. Now that I'm tumor free, I think I'm going to back off on it because it's kind of hard on the body and the heart. But it got me to where I am, and I'm grateful. Metformin, amazing anti-cancer, blood sugar lowering. I'll probably take it for a long, long time. Celecoxib, it's one of the best COX-2 inhibitors with the least amount of side effects. Good stuff. I'll probably taper off now. Dipyridamole, amazing anti-platelet, anti-stroke drug. Just feels great to take. Like, just, yeah, I like it. Low dose naltrexone, another off-label. It's an anti-opioid agonist that has amazing effects. When you take it at night, your immune system like gets this huge reboot. And apparently it's good to not take every day, but say take it 4 days in a row and then take 2 days off, or take it every other day, or 2 days and then 1 day off, so that it has maximum effect. Mebendazole is a human dewormer. Amazing stuff. Little chewable orange flavored tablets. They're great. Doxycycline is an antibiotic that has amazing anti-cancer properties and stem cell killing properties. Yes, it's an antibiotic, but it doesn't make it all the way down to your lower intestines, so it's not as hard on your gut flora. And just take lots of probiotics. and you can take it 1 month on, 1 month off. That's kind of what I did. And then other drugs that I am taking or did take, one's niclosamide. It's a dewormer. Bought it from Lithuania, I think. Fenbendazole, like mebendazole, animal dewormer, amazing anti-cancer properties. You might not need to take it if you're taking mebendazole, but if you have stage 4 cancer, what have you got to lose? Mildronate from Russia. It's a fatty acid oxidization inhibitor, and it makes you feel really good and a little bit smarter. I big thumbs up to Mildronate. Maria Sharapova, can't be wrong. And then propanadol, the beta blocker. I just take 10 milligrams in the morning. Lowers your epinephrine, your stress hormones, so it reduces metastasis. And then what other prescription drugs? Ivermectin tablets, amazing. I'm taking them now. Chloroquine, ordered it online. Amazing anti-cancer. Plus, as a bonus, ivermectin, chloroquine or hydrochloroquine, and a couple of these other things are all anti-COVID. It's ironic, the crossover, but regardless, ivermectin's amazing. And as a side benefit from taking all these pills, I know I'm totally worm and parasite free, and my hairline is like coming back. My acne is gone. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, aside from the lung scarring and the rib damage. What else? Yeah, every time I would make my pills, if I ran out of something, I would just keep a list. And then as soon as I ran out, I would order it, because you've got 2 weeks until your batch of 14 sets of pills runs out. So by the time, if you order it right when you make your batch of pills, 2 weeks later, you're going to have your resupply, so that you never run out of things. And same with prescriptions. As soon as you run low on a prescription, just renew it or whatever, refill it. And so you'll always have what you need in ready supply. I ordered almost all my vitamins through iHerb. They have almost everything I need, and the prices are really good. You could, but just find a reliable, consistent source where you can get everything. It made it really easy to order almost everything from the same source, instead of trying to go all over the internet to find these things. Okay, so I've said so much. I'm sure if you're still listening at this point, you're sort of overwhelmed with information. I'm just going to try and think of any last little things. Yeah, thanks for sticking with me. I'll just sort of reiterate the things, like one thing I did not do was panic. I knew with stage 4 cancer that panic or fear or spinning my wheels was an indulgence that I didn't have the luxury of taking. I just got really clear about building a game plan of support and supplements and prescription drugs and treatment so I could move forward. I found the team. I found that amazing GP who's been like my cornerstone. I found an amazing naturopath to consult with and get my IV vitamin C prescription. I found Jocelyn Tate, who was just an amazing resource. I only talked to her for 2 hours, but what came out of that 2 hours was phenomenal. I was eligible for free counseling from the BC Cancer Society. I have an amazing counselor. We haven't talked lately, but at first, every week or 2 weeks, me or my wife would be talking to her. It was an incredible support, and it's free. If you have any sort of counseling available, take it. It's going to help so much. Just your mental, emotional well-being will benefit. A dear friend of ours came to our house and offered counseling as a psychologist, totally free. That was amazingly helpful for the difficulty that me and my wife were going through, just the stress of having cancer and having me kind of out of commission was big, and he really helped us with that. I availed myself of, there's alternative cancer support in British Columbia called Inspire Health. They're an amazing resource. Talk to the doctors there. They also have free nutritional consultation from a registered dietitian. Phenomenal just to talk to someone about food, because food becomes like this weird, terrible, wonderful thing that you obsess over when when you have cancer. What can I eat? How much can I eat? What should I eat? When should I eat it? And just talk to someone who's an expert. And part of what she did was just help me remember that food can be a joy and a source of nourishment and freedom and good flavor and pleasure, instead of something to get neurotic about and try and figure out. So don't panic. It doesn't do any good. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. This is not God's punishment. God does not, my God doesn't play those kind of games. I believe that it's like human life is so precious, and if we realize that we are alive and our will to live, and that the world is really here to support us to live and have healthy lives, that goes so far. Ask for support, ask for help from your community, and let it in. Let go of control to some degree. Be discerning and say how you want it, say how you like it, but also receive the help that's offered wherever it shows up. I researched a whole ton after I read these books, and before and during, scanning for information. As soon as I found a supplement or something that would be of benefit, I just wrote it down. I don't remember half the science, but I remembered the takeaway was always, will this be of benefit for me? What's the likelihood of its benefit? What's the difficulty of getting it or taking it? And so prioritizing. But like I say, I'm taking over 80 supplements and drugs every day. But I hit a point where I just said, enough's enough, because I found I was starting to worry. What am I missing? Is there something else I should be taking? And I kind of just had to say, Seamus, you've done your best. You spent about a month at least researching, while you started taking what you knew was good right away and then kept adding for at least a month. But then you got to pick a point where you say, okay, I was in open mode. I took in as much information as I could. And now it's time to execute. And you do your best and you execute your plan and stick with it, and don't let your mind plant fear or doubt, like, what am I missing? Maybe there's something that I'm doing wrong. Just stop that chatter. Carry out your plan for at least a month or two. Wait until you have some scan or test or feedback that tells you you're doing better, you're doing the same, or you're doing worse before you change your strategy. Otherwise, it's crazy making to be trying to shift on the fly or second guess every day. Don't do that. Just stick with your plan until there's a natural point where you reevaluate. For me, right now is a point of reevaluation, but I'm not gonna throw everything out the window and start again. I'm just gonna start refining it, taking some less supplements, making sure I'm taking the ones that are stem cell specific, as well as just doing all the things, diet, exercise, that I know are good for my physical and mental health and well-being. I ate a lot of salad. I ate a ton of black currant berries because I grow hundreds of pounds of them, and they're incredibly good for me. So rather than being worried about, am I eating too much sugar in these berries, I just started putting them in my smoothie, and I know they're good for me. And I know juicing is good for you. If you can juice, great. But there's something about all the fiber and the whole vegetable. So if you can just make a salad out of whatever you would juice and eat that with some olive oil dressing and lemon juice or vinegar or whatever, do it. Don't throw all the fiber away, because for me, I got so constipated from the radiation and the hydromorphone that I was taking for pain in the beginning. I needed all the fiber I could get. Epsom salt baths in the cooler months. Every day I would have an Epsom salt bath. And that's one thing. If you're going to do the IV vitamin C or any kind of IV, right before your nurse comes to put in the IV, or before you put in your IV, have a hot Epsom salt bath to relax. And also it makes, I have like, luckily I have like big veins, prominent veins, so I'm set up for that. But if I'm cold or stressed, my veins shrink right up. So have a hot bath, flush your system, and your veins will like pop out, and it makes it a lot easier to get the catheter in. And Epsom salt baths are amazing. They're like cheap therapy. Essential oils, like do it up. Good music, listen to whatever kind of music you can, whatever does it for you, do it. When you go for a walk, just play whatever music makes you feel good. It really helped me. Like I always loved music, but somehow it's become just like a source of such pleasure to listen to good music. And that includes cheesy pop and whatever is doing it for you, keep doing it. And just like trust that you can do this. Don't give up hope. Don't let the fear tell you that it's not working, or that it's too much, or that cancer is a death sentence. I think cancer has a huge stigma around it, but it's like people like Jane McClelland, people like me, they're all over. People that are healing from cancer quickly and well, and that's creating informing the morphogenetic field, so that it just gets easier for everyone else to do the same for themselves. So we're changing the game, and I feel so lucky that I was handed the book, like literally while I was lying on the couch, overwhelmed and out of it. So the work has been done by others, like what Jane did, 18 years ago, her research, her pioneering, writing the book. I got to start here instead of down there. And so we just build on what other people have already done. So don't reinvent the wheel. Just find what's working, make a plan, and go with it. And then change the plan only if you need to, based on new information down the road. Just a quick note, I was using hydromorphone right after radiation. My oncologist was really promoting. I was in a lot of pain. For about 3 weeks, I was using hydromorphone. It was good for the pain. but as quickly as possible, I weaned off of heavy duty painkillers because of what they do to your mind, your digestion, your bowels, um, and also your immune system. The quicker you can get off painkillers, the better. I used cannabinoids for about 3 weeks to wean off of hydromorphone, um, and that was wonderful. However, when I learned about the immunosuppressive aspects of cannabinoids, I stopped using them. They have all sorts of anti-cancer properties, but for me, knowing I wanted to wake up my immune system, I just stopped using cannabinoids. I think they totally have a place, but until I need them again for pain or nausea, or just want to go on a full cannabinoid cancer eradication program, I won't use them. Occasionally CBD for sleep, but very rarely. And and that was just my choice about what I thought would be good for my body. And mostly I just wanted to be clear, to be able to enjoy life to the best of my ability. And now that I'm tumor free, um, yeah, um, suddenly I have, like, my options have opened up as far as, but basically being clear and sober and cognizant is so important to me. And I hope that you find a way to be with the difficulty of having cancer without needing to numb out, freak out, shut off, or compound the trauma that's already happened. And so find ways of being kind to yourself. Just every day, if you can just say, oh, there, this isn't your fault. I know this is hard, but this is not punishment. And get clear. It's like, oh, I really do care about myself. I really do want to live. And what do I need to do to take care of this? Yes, I need help from the ancestors, from the creator, from your angels, from your guides, from your relatives, from your friends, from your community, from your coworkers. You need that help, and no one's going to do it for you. So the paradox of receiving help, but also holding yourself, taking care of yourself, but not in isolation, not don't be lonely in this, please. There's the last two things. Okay, the last two things I'll say were the two most important metaphors that really worked for me in understanding this. The first was, I'm not a sci-fi buff, but when I understood that cancer had taken over my body and was eating my ribs and my spine and was spreading, the image that came to mind is all those movies where there's, like, it's a sci-fi scenario where there's a space station in outer space, or a spaceship, and the lone survivor on the ship is gutting the $10 trillion space station to maintain life support. And it's always, it's totally legitimate if you're stuck on a space station and you're the only one and you're in interstellar space. Yeah, you got the spaceship to maintain life support, to stay alive. However, I understood right away, cancer is a disease of isolation and separation. Cancer thinks that it is alone and needs to gut the space station of your body to stay alive. And as soon as I became awake to the fact that I had cancer growing in me, I went, okay, I'm awake. My space station, my body, my awareness can go here and say, it's not about getting rid of an enemy like cancer and war on cancer. but just saying, hey there, Cancer, I'm awake now. This is my body, this is my life. I'm taking charge of my space station, and you don't need to gut it because you're on board with me. I'm the captain. I want to go a long way, and I need all the systems, the supercomputers, the life support, all of that to go on this journey, so you don't get to dismantle this for your own paranoid purpose, thinking that you're all alone and isolated and need to do that to survive, because I'm here to be alive. So that was a key metaphor for me. So whether you like sci-fi or not, that just made so much sense to me. I hope it's a benefit to you. The other metaphor that made a huge difference for me is, and I'm not a good basketball player, but Malcolm Gladwell wrote an amazing book, David and Goliath, and he talks about the underdog team from Silicon Valley of these like short, mostly white girls who weren't that great basketball players, but they made an amazing team that went all the way to the like junior national championships solely by implementing a basketball strategy called the full court press. And like I say, I'm not a basketball person, but if you are, great. If not, it doesn't matter. Really all it is your players cover each player on the opposite team so they never get a chance to make a pass or a shot. You just stick on them like glue and you block every shot possible. You don't have to be tall. You don't have to be that athletic. You got to run around a lot and you got to cover your man for the whole game. And you can go to the champions with that strategy. People don't like it because it's cheap, because it doesn't look as like cool as like running up and making the 3-pointer and all that. But you know what? It doesn't matter if like that. So if Cancer is a basketball game, don't be noble or like elitist with how your approach is. For me, the full court press was, I'm going to take every single supplement that shows anti-cancer activity or immune boosting activity, and I'm going to take as many off-label drugs as I think are necessary. Of course, I'm going to pick the least toxic ones. One prescription I got called imipramine, which is a tricyclic antidepressant. I took it one day and it made me feel like hot and crazy. I did not take it again. So I'm not going to do anything stupid. I don't want to risk my life to save my life. But I'm going to take all of the things that are available to deal with cancer. I'd be silly not to. And so the whole foundation of how to starve cancer is the cocktail approach. You don't just do 1 or 2 or 3 things. You block every single metabolic pathway to the best of your ability with multiple redundant supplements or drugs. All pick the non-toxic ones. Don't do too many of them. Don't do anything crazy, but do the full court press. Block it every which way so it has no choice but to say, okay, here's your space station back. I'll just like exit stage left or settle down and just, get back in line now that the captains showed up. So those two metaphors, the full court press and reclaiming your space station, not battling cancer like a feared enemy, but just looking within and saying, whoa, I see you. Yeah, you've been wreaking havoc on me. Sorry, I didn't know you were there, but now I do. And with love, with care, I'm gonna like take care of this. So if you've made it this far, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I love you. I care about you. I want the best for you. I want everyone to have good, fulfilling lives, to feel empowered about who they are and where they're going. I want everyone to be able to be alive, to celebrate life, care for your children and your partners, and yeah, so all the best to you. I made this video because I really wanted to give back and share what's worked for me. This is just what's worked for me, but I know that there's things that are going to work for you. You just need to believe in them and do them and experience the good results for yourself, and share the information with people who need to hear this. Yeah, so all the best to you. So many blessings, and read Jane McClellan's book, get her online video course. It literally changed the course of my treatment and my life. And yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. It's cliche, but I love you even if I've never met you. And until we meet again, goodbye.